the police brutality and, you know, this is wrong and they can't be taking lives like that. No matter what the person may have done, it's not their place to take a life. And but I think that all the violence is going to it's going to push people to make choices and take a side when they shouldn't have to whatsoever. And that's what scares me about the whole thing.
Right. And I mean, we're seeing and this was one of the main focuses and one of the ideas where we both had the idea for this program and to discuss this was some of the things that we're seeing fit right into the old playbook of the movement, you know, where we're seeing some of these narratives where people are talking about race war and civil war and the Boogaloo and all these different things where people are radicalizing, and it plays right into the movement or the extremist handbook, because you know, basically those narratives, those fears, those concerns that people had, that when they, you know, from the movement, was that, hey, someday the system is going to break down and there's going to be a revolution in this country. And the movement believes, you know, the far right, excuse me, for our viewers, the far right believes they will be the saviors, and they're going to come and rescue all of America. And that's their narrative. Now, on the other side of the extreme, the far left, you know, they want also, you know, here's where the far right and the far left have some similarities. They both want the system to collapse, but for different reasons. And the leftist extremists we're seeing in a lot of cases, and I catch a lot of flack for saying anything about the left, but I feel like you have to be honest and precise when you're talking about these things, and you have to be consistent. So of course I'm going to point out where far right people are involved in some terrible things, and there was examples, like for example in Vegas already, where they caught some guys affiliated with the Boogaloo type of thinking that were going to plant bombs and things like that. So I mean, I think that's really important to point those things out, but it's also, we'd be remiss if we were not pointing out that there's extremists involved in this stuff from both sides, and we're seeing a whole lot of that. Yeah,
definitely. It doesn't do anyone any justice to not point out that it comes from both sides. Any kind of extremism, no matter where it comes from, is just not a good thing, no matter what, no matter who it's coming from. And as far as the far right goes, I can tell everyone, as I'm sure you can, that the white power movement right now, they're seething at their teeth, because this is what they've always wanted. They've been waiting decades for this. It's, you know, it's like wonderful for them. They think it's great. So
no, absolutely. I mean, that's one of the things I've probably spent, and I know you have too, but we've both spent an inordinate amount of time looking through news clips, videos, and everything about what's gone on in the past week. And the chatter I'm hearing from far right side is, hey, we don't even have to do anything. We just got to sit. They're sitting back, they're laughing as America burns, and they're waiting. And you know, we've seen the news media, different news media outlets, they seem to either push the narrative that it's all anarchists and Antifa on one side doing all this, and then there's other media that say that it's white supremacists doing all this. The truth is that it's somewhere in the middle. There's people from both extremes that are participating in this, but one of the, just from my experience, you know, leading the NSM for 25 years and as a propagandist as well, these incidents and the things that are going on, a lot of it plays right into the movement playbook, this is why the right wing in mass, or the far right, is not really out there that much. I mean, yeah, you have some guys, you have some that were arrested, and you have some that were doing counterintelligence ops and different things like that. But for the most part, I see the far right sitting back, watching, rubbing their hands together. And just like you said, I mean, this is something that they predicted. This is something they were wishing for and hoping for all this time for many, many years. And now, you know, we have where cities are being set on fire, and there's rioting and looting and things like that. And it's really, it fits their narrative. So, I mean, they can play the victim and try to be the savior. And that's what they're looking for. And on the far left, it's more of they don't like the system as well, but it's for different reasons. So unfortunately, what we're seeing is a lot of middle of the road people becoming radicalized. And I think that's where our expertise comes in now more than ever, because this is something that's not really being discussed. Is with all what's going on, the public doesn't see it. Unfortunately, or maybe fortunately, we do see it because we've been involved in extremism in the past, and we know the narratives and what could come. But my concern is, and I'm a little bit bouncing around all over the place here on the different subjects, but my concern is that if the far right feels like now is their time, that's when we're going to see some serious mass violence, mass shootings, mass bombings, the burning down of businesses and corporations and mom and pop stores. That's not the far right narrative. It never has been. That's not their thing. They're more bombing and shooting is more, you know, something big, you know, whereas the extreme far left, they don't like the corporations. I'm not quite sure why so many mom and pop businesses have been targeted in different parts of the country. I think it's just like a mass, a lot of criminals are taking advantage of a really sad and tragic event, and it's led up to a lot more tragedies.
Yeah, and if it doesn't stop soon, like you said, there's going to be something in this country, I fear, that will really scare everybody.
Do you want to, could you elaborate on that a little bit and give a few insights on what you think could possibly go wrong with this?
Well, growing up, I heard, you know, my whole childhood growing up, exactly what's going on now. They couldn't, like I said before, they couldn't wait for this to happen. And I'm a little bit surprised, honestly, that they haven't done much of anything yet. But at the same time, I'm also not surprised, because like you said, they look at the bigger picture and bigger things. Right now, they're just sitting home laughing, watching the TV, watching everything that's going on, and knowing that they're not going to have to do anything to get people to want to join their groups. They're just going to come to them, because people are going to see this, and Antifa coming in and looting and burning things down. The normal person, the normal citizen just sitting home watching all this unfold, they're going to start blaming everything on Black Lives Matter. And even when it's not, I believe it's mainly not them. I believe it's Antifa doing this, because this is their MO. And the wrong people are going to be completely blamed. It's going to upset the white people, and they're going to look to join these groups. So people, you know, they're just reacting to this very emotionally, for one thing. I don't think anyone's being logical about it whatsoever. And if they were able to see clearly and think step by step what's going to happen, I would hope that they would change what they were doing. But, you know, none of us want racism, you know, to grow, but I fear that that's what's going to happen with this. I see it. I see it on my own personal social media news feeds, people that I've never seen speak like that before. And so that's, you know, that I really feel that's what's happening, unfortunately.